Well, cheerio, friends. Welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. They want to remind you to visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to learn how you can get value and coverage through T-Mobile. It was a show that we kind of jumped all around. We had some basketball to get into. We had some football to get into, some baseball to get into. But Tera Talmadge joined us. You can see her on SEC sidelines at many games out there. She broke down some of the games she was at recently, Arkansas spring game, Auburn spring game, her perspective on where A&M is right now. So we appreciate Tera joining the show. Good stuff as always. We talked a little bit about the Brazos County Aggie Muster that's coming up on Thursday. Appreciate them stopping by. Bob Palmarez joined us. Had Pat Henry, too, Track and Field Report. Got to do that on a Tuesday. He got us ready for the Baylor meet coming up here real soon. And the Go Hour, Jimbo's recruiting power. He's got a lot of recruiting power. We kind of went through the rankings out there throughout his entire time in college football. The guy's like a top 10 recruiter every year, top 5 recruiter like every year. So we got to get into it and give him the props he deserves. It's TexAgs Rewind. Going through the ESPN rankings, there's 247 on here as well, but I'm going to keep it at ESPN. He has had 3 number 1 classes in his time. That's twice at Florida State and now at A&M. Okay, so 3. He's also been in the top 3 several times. Once with A&M, twice with A&M with the number 1 class in 2022, as we know. 2019, number 3. He was the number 1 class in 2016. He was the number 2 class in 2015. He was the number 3 class in 2014. He was also the number 2 class in 2012. He was the number 1 class in 2011. His classes have routinely been in the top 10, and more often than not, in the top 5.
But the Feinbaums of the world accept Florida State as a have. They do not want to accept Texas A&M, even though Jackie Sherrill recruited like crazy here.
Yes, he did.
R.C. Slocum recruited like crazy here. And then it fell off because, well, it fell off under R.C., but it wasn't R.C.'s fault. It was A&M's fault for not updating their facilities when Oklahoma, LSU, and Texas were.
Yeah. So I bring all that up because I'm like, this is a proven track record, yet it's still a talking point, and I don't understand why it is a talking point, and I'm just here to strengthen the fact that it's not a talking point.
Well, first of all, Feinbaum's an Alabama guy. I know he went to Tennessee, but he loves Alabama. I always said that I don't dislike the guy, but I always said, if Nick Saban was to stop abruptly, Paul Feinbaum might break his nose. So he's an Alabama guy, so he has that. He part of the national media. The national media, I believe, really want to see Jimbo Fisher fail. And I remember I was on a podcast with a guy, Matt Hayes, who is a respected guy, and he was saying, how could Jimbo Fisher? Doesn't this seem crazy of Texas A&M? And I said, well, if you know the history, you would say no, because if you look at A&M's history of hiring coaches, going all the way back to Bear Bryant, and then Jackie Sherrill was a coach of a team that was a national championship contender, and he comes here. R.C. Slocum was offered jobs with the Arizona Cardinals and LSU, and he chose to stay here. You hired Dennis Franchione away from Alabama.
Yep.
You can go on. And then, so when you look at the history, maybe it's coaches that look at A&M and what A&M has to offer more favorably than media guys who are never here that don't really understand recruiting.
Yep.
That are just, talking heads or biased to their certain programs. I used to live in Austin, right? And I used to think, how do you decide to go to A&M over Texas? And
Until you came here.
And then I came here, or even when I lived in Tyler. It wasn't so much in Austin. In Tyler and Longview, I'd wonder. And then I came here. And I said, I love it. I get it. And then you go to Austin and other places, and it has some pluses, but there's a whole lot of minuses too.
Kayla Robinson sets the school record 100-meter hurdles with a time of 12:71.
Gets better. Just gets better all the time. And Kayla's one of our only seniors in the group, but she's getting much better. It's fun to see the consistency she has right now, and that's why she's continuing to get better. We've had a lot of good hurdlers at Texas A&M, and for her to be the new school record holder is pretty significant. Deshae Wise in the intermediate hurdles ran 56 seconds this weekend. That's a huge jump. That puts her competitive on a national level, and I think she's going to get a little bit better. So great weekend for her. And Deborah Aqua continues to jump over 22 feet, and people who know anything about track, and they start comparing what high school guys are doing and what a young lady like this is doing. If you're consistently over 22 feet, you're going to be competitive in anywhere you go. And Deborah is one of those that has really grabbed on to the consistency aspect of things, and that has always been her problem.
How do you pronounce the name? Avital Wilson?
Yeah, Petite. Yeah, we call her Avi. We can't do the rest, or either that or I yell Wilson. Okay, one of the two, because I can't yell the other.
A time of 800 meter time of 2:03:16.
2:03, and she's just starting to make things happen. Not the best of races, but you saw some really good things inside that race. So I think if she puts it all together, she's going to run 2:01, and that'll be competitive. Whitmarsh on the men's side ran 1:48:18, and that's the guy who I saw this weekend who made a significant improvement, because he came down the straightaway and won his heat, and for a freshman, he looked real good. I mean, he continued to drive towards the line. So that's what we're trying to see right now. On the men's side, we had 4 guys run 45 seconds this weekend. It's been a long time since I've had 4 men run 45 seconds at 400 meters all in the same time. Now we just got to put it together. We got beat in the relay. Florida looked really good in a 4x4. It's my job to align it a little bit different, and we'll do it a little bit different next time.
You've told me for a while now that you build. Each part of the season is building, and right now you guys are building at your best.
Yeah, our sport is like that. I mean, nobody cares what we did last week. It's what you do this week, and we don't have rankings. I mean, we got team rankings. You just went over team rankings, and we have individual rankings, but you got to do it on that day. And those days are right in front of us. That day is coming up at conference, and then that first round of NCAA, and then the NCAA championship. So it's a one effort, one time, or you're out. That's it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us, and thank you for continuing to promote a lot of the really rich traditions that we have at A&M. The primary goal of the Brazos County A&M Club is threefold. One is to continue to remember and promote the traditions that we have, to continue to provide service to the community and to the A&M University, and to raise money for scholarships for kids all over the place. So we appreciate that. The Brazos County A&M Club is holding its muster this coming Thursday, April 21st, at the Brazos County Expo. Doors open at 5:30. Tickets are $35 per person, and you can get your tickets at our website. It's www.bcamc.org. And we expect a great crowd this year.
I think, 650 last year, roughly, right?
We had about between 600 and 650 last year, and it looks like this year we will be in the range of about 750. Last year and historically, we've called out the names of about 150 to 155 people on the honor roll. This year we expect about the same number, 150 to 160. The club, since its inception in 1990, has held the muster every year on the 21st. The only exception was 2020, when everything was upside down. But with the help of Texas Filmworks, we were able to do a virtual one, and so it turned out to be a very, very good event given the circumstances. But we're looking forward to this year again. So we appreciate everybody that has helped. We appreciate everybody who is promoting the event, And we are looking forward to honoring all the families and the individuals that have passed away this past year.
So you were most recently with Arkansas, and I understand that the weather was bad, so it kind of changed the narrative out there. But they ended up getting some type of spring game in, correct?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like every time that a school actually makes the choice to change up things because of weather, the weather just suddenly disappears. It turned out to be a great day in Fayetteville. But yeah, so the spring game was moved inside because of potential storms and stuff, but they still went through pretty much what they had planned on doing. It was just a little bit of a shorter version of it. You got to see some of their main guys come back. It wasn't a typical spring game. There were no points or anything like that. They basically just ran a couple drills, went through a couple, ones versus twos versus threes type situation.
Sam Pittman looks like a likable person, and he recently got an extension. What makes him so endearing to that community and to the players?
I think one of the biggest things about Sam Pittman is how much he loves the state of Arkansas. He's mentioned that this is going to be his last job. He wants it to be his last job. And also the blatant honesty that he has. It's so refreshing, especially in comparison to what Arkansas had in the past. I think it's so nice for the fan base to feel like, he's not going to sugarcoat it. If something's not going well, he's going to pretty much say it. And if it's going great, then they can pretty much believe what he's saying. So it's nice to have a coach that is so upfront with all of the media and the fans as well.
And he just recently got an extension, and I believe, if I read it correctly, he's got no out, right? But Arkansas can get rid of him anytime, but he wanted that to be, hey, I'm here for the long haul. This is my last gig.
Yeah, I mean, he was joking. I talked with him before the spring game, and he was saying that, this was the only job he ever really wanted. Like, this was it for him. And he also wants to do it his way. He's wanted this job for such a long time that he's going to go about it the way that he sees best. And so if it has success, then great. If not, then you know what? At least he got a chance to have his dream job. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure it's going the direction he wants it to go right now.
All right, that does it for the show. Thank you so much. Would like for you to like it, comment on it, subscribe to it. If you're still watching, say, hello, David, on the comments below. That makes me know that you're watching it, and it just makes me feel better about myself. It's TexAgs Rewind.